Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of the Swamp247 recruiting podcast. I'm Tyler Harden. Today I'm joined by Florida cornerback commit out of Cocoa, Florida, CJ Hester. He's been committed to Florida since July 3rd. CJ, how are we tonight?
I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You're in the middle of your season. Florida's in the middle of their season. Just how have you been these days, man? Just in the middle of football season.
Me myself, I've been, doing good. Just trying to put, just trying to be able to stay healthy and, just learn and, play snap by snap. Just play a snap by a snap.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, from the outside looking in for you, it's probably been a weird season overall. Florida's had its ups and downs. Coco's had its ups and downs. So how's it been experiencing those ups and downs on, your current team and your future team?
I would say it's something different. Because we won, state 3 times in a row. So this season, just trying to figure out everybody. A lot of people new faces. Everybody, trying to find chemistry with each other. So it just been, a little bit rough. But we're gonna pick it back up. And with Florida, as well as them, they had to click. Just trying to figure some things out. And just get it, back working and just getting dominated.
Yeah, and of course you were in the house this weekend. Big win against Texas, to say the least, right? To get back in the winner's circle. Just how'd it feel being there for a win like that and, kind of seeing the Gators get some new life this season that, they might not have had?
I mean, it was great. The atmosphere was lively. I was getting pumped amp when they kept making plays, on both sides of the ball. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were there also for the USF game. So you saw kind of both ends of the spectrum a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, right? Just how was this visit for the Texas game different than the USF one, other than the result of the game, of course?
A much more way bigger game of, a top ranked opponent. So, you got to come and, you got to bring it. You want, bring a big upset. So, and that gave us, confidence, confidence going to this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And, throughout this whole season for Florida, kind of the positive point has been the defense, right? Just what are your thoughts on how the defense has played this season, really just kind of holding it down overall for Florida?
I mean, they've been playing great. They've been dominating, getting a lot of stops, forcing turnovers and stuff like that.
Yeah, no doubt. How about the secondary? Guys like, Cormani and Bryce Thornton, Devin Moore. Just how has it been watching those guys kind of get after it and, make those big plays that, you know, are needed for this Florida team, to stay in these games going forward as it will be going forward.
It's great, seeing them go out there, shine, go out there, and play, and then show their passion, and you just showing, what they've been all been working for, and then just showing it, and it's just been great, seeing them dominating and just going out there and making plays.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And, obviously it hasn't been, all positives for Florida this season, like we said, right? 3 straight losses, one that people may not have expected as much against USF. So, question marks continued to, reveal themselves over the past few weeks. So as a commit, man, what has it been like for you navigating that? There have been some big question marks on whether or not this coaching staff will still be here by the time you get on campus. Just what has that been like for you, kind of navigating those hypotheticals and, weeding out what's rational and what might not be?
And it's crew, and it's all uncertainty. Just trying to put your trust in coaches. You got to believe in them. That have a good relationship with them, and just trying to put your trust in them. That you and their decision, like it won't hurt you. That you could be the best. That they can motivate you. That they can push you to your limits, and that they can be there. But it's also uncertainty and everything. So just
Yeah.
be having a cautious in your brain that there could be uncertainty, but this is the team wanted to go to, you want to stick with. So
Yeah, 100%. And I know you and Coach Deron Wilson are very close, right? Just how has it been talking to him these days, while the team is having these ups and downs, throughout the season?
I've been good talking to him, each and every day. talking about how practice, how the atmosphere, how the work ethic and the grinding, and then just showing, telling me how they're gonna keep pushing and keep working and keep bringing that confidence.
Yeah, and I know you guys are very close on an off the field perspective, on an off the field level. Has it been a lot of off the field talk these days while things are kind of up and down on the field, or has it been a little mix of both?
I mean, it's always a mix of both. About family, hobbies, things that we can relate to and stuff like that, and also well as football. But a mix of everything.
Yeah, no doubt. And, I know you're one of three secondary commits for this Florida class, you, CJ Brona, and Caden Hall. So how's your relationship with CJ, Caden, and really, honestly, the rest of the guys in your class?
It's been cool, texting them, trying to get to know them, getting hype, seeing them also there, cheering and supporting on the Gators, and just getting the vibe, feeling them out and stuff, and getting to know that type of person they are.
Yeah. Has there been a guy in the classes you've gotten like really close with over others, or has it kind of just been like you're getting to know everybody, on a pretty
I would
equal
say
level?
fairly getting to know everybody, fairly. But
Yeah.
I would say, getting more, of the, people that, like the DBs more, getting to know them more a little bit, but, also everybody as well.
Yeah, and I know on the official visit, you get to, connect with some current players. Have you been able to stay in touch with any of those guys you might have, gotten to know on the official visit or even outside of that type of thing that are currently on the roster today?
Yeah, being there, every time I'll come out there, just trying to chop it out with them, and just, asking them about, day-to-day questions, how they feel about the game and stuff, and just overall about, life in school and stuff.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure, after the Texas game was a good opportunity for you to get around those guys. I'm sure they were pumped. I'm sure you were pumped. Everybody in the locker room was probably excited. Just what was that like, being in the locker room after the game, being around, your future teammates, your future coaches, and just kind of soaking in the moment with them?
Just the atmosphere was, way different. The energy was high. A lot of people confidence, boosted. It was a great feeling. You felt, all the team, feeling hyped and excited about the win.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like we said, not all positives at Florida these days. You recently took a trip to Missouri. I know other schools have been in contact right now. Just how have you been approaching all that? Just kind of, staying true to Florida, but at the same time, keeping those other avenues open.
'Cause, you still got to like December, but also, just staying, strong, committed, but also, just having a, great relationship, all the other coaches that's still trying to recruit you as well. But
Yeah.
put certain limits on certain things, that you want to see, or if you don't want to see any things.
Yeah, and I know the trip you took to Missouri, of course, Javian Hilson plays there, your former teammate at Coco. Was that really the motivating factor to go out to Missouri, or was it kind of like, hey, they're recruiting me right now. I also have a former teammate out there. It's just kind of a good opportunity on both ends to make a visit out there.
Um, I really want to see, him go out there and shine, and see what he been doing. So just to really check up on him, and see how he liked it as well. Also,
Yeah.
but looking at the school as well because they do recruit me as well. So, but more likely just seeing from his side, his perspective, and just asking what he thinks about it.
Yeah, and Missouri, wasn't a school that you took an official visit to, right? So is that a topic of is that a conversation at all that you might go out there and take an OV at some point, or is it not really come up?
Um, just just trying to feel the best of Missouri and them, and just trying to feel the best both sides, and then
Yeah,
if I see myself being there as well.
yeah, just kind of building, going
Yeah.
through the conversation, see where it leads,
Yeah.
right? Have there been any other schools that you've been talking to, really consistently outside of Florida?
I've been talking like to Syracuse because I also got a former teammate and also a player that one of my former like friends that I go there, and Demetrius Samuel.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and He's doing well up at
Yeah,
Syracuse, right? So I'm sure, you might want to go up there see him just because he's getting some good on the field playing time, right? So that would be fun. And just how's everything been with Syracuse? That being said,
and it's been chill. Check them like checking up on me and stuff like that. And then showing like they still gonna recruit me as well. So it's been
yeah, is it really just Missouri and Syracuse these days that are really hitting you up consistently?
Vanderbilt has hit me up.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
How's everything with Vandy?
I mean it's just been cool. Just trying to see them, just trying to fill them out.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like that's where you're kind of at with these three schools, just feeling it out, seeing where it goes, type of thing. If it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't go anywhere. But if it does, play it out. Right. So no, and like you said, you kind of have maybe like a boundary with these schools outside of Florida when they're recruiting you.
Mm-hmm.
How would you explain that boundary when they're, talking to you type of thing? Like what do you kind of allow and not allow?
Uh, you know, just trying to see where the coaches look at me as prioritize me as, and just seeing how like how they recruit me, and just see if they want me to like either flip or get up to a game, or just see where the conversation leads to.
Yeah, absolutely. And that all being said, man, just how would you describe your commitment to Florida these days?
I still say it's a strong commitment, because that's the school I feel most comfortable at, and see myself being there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, man, kind of like we said earlier, ups and downs at Florida, ups and downs at Coco, just your own season, right? Just how would you kind of describe it these days?
I would say, it's been a little challenging, but just trying to, every day, every practice, just trying to keep going harder, keep grinding, just trying to keep pushing the team, to keep just trying to be your best, and just trying to win the game, and just uplift their confidence.
Yeah, and another opportunity to bounce back against Apopka, this Friday. Just, of course, that's a good program in the Orlando area. Just what are you looking forward to most about that opportunity to get back in the winners column, just like, Florida had this past weekend?
Really just show that, okay, you just got to keep fighting, got to keep, grinding, got to keep being dedicated, and just show up each and every day.
Yeah, and as a whole, man, obviously it's senior season at the end of the day, right? This is your last season of high school football. Has that really set in yet that like this is it, man?
No, yeah,
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
it's last ride. It's on the edge where you got to go to college, so and
Yeah.
then you got to think about, okay, this it's gonna be your last season ever playing high school ball. So
Yeah. People around you, right? Family, friends, what are they kind of telling you? Just the fact that it is senior season and like you said, it'll be on to college ball once this is all said and done.
yeah, just take it in as a blessing, and and just take it as, day by day, and then until that time comes.
Yeah, and just overall, man, obviously a state championship is any team's goal, right? It's got to be your goal as a senior, especially. Just other than that, though, man, what are you hoping to get out of your senior season, your last high school football season? Just what are you hoping to get out of this as a whole?
Just staying healthy, just knowing that I put all my hard work and dedication, that paid off. That I can go to school somewhere like Florida, so, and just be able to go out there and just show my talents, to the Florida coaches, and just show that I'm ready to come and play.
Well said, man. Well said. Well, that'll do it here for the Swamp 24/7 Recruiting Podcast, Episode 2. I'm Tyler Harden of Swamp 24/7, and I'm joined by Florida cornerback commit CJ Hester. CJ, thanks for the time, man.
Thank you.